This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today we're going to talk a little bit about happiness. I suppose I talk a fair bit about emotions and understanding emotions and what's good, what's bad, what's not, which is judgment, I suppose. Funnily enough, that in itself is judgment. Either way, we're looking at happiness, basically, and I heard something the other day, I can't remember where it was, but they said happiness is reality minus expectations. And I want to kind of pull that apart a little bit today. I've had a bit of a think about it, but I want to pull it apart a bit more with you guys and see where that goes. So looking at it, I suppose, breaking down that term, well, firstly, it's looking at happiness. As if happiness is an emotion that we have access to, however, it's not a way of life. And people might argue about that, and that's fine, but then you're denying a part of you that is actually real. It's like saying you don't have legs when you do. It's like, well, you do have legs. It's like, yeah, but I don't need them, but they're fucking there. Like, you have them. Your body still pumps blood to them, etc., etc. So understanding that happiness is simply an emotion that we utilize and have and is a part of our life, and obviously it feels good, it feels warm, we want to have more of it in our life traditionally, depending on person to person, but what it's getting at there is happiness is reality. Now, this is the interesting thing about reality, is that reality is only right now. What's real right now in this very moment, which means happiness is in the moment. People often get happy about their expectations of the future, and this is often excitement, which we often confuse as happiness. And so excitement and happiness is two different things. I think it's important to go through and learn how to define happiness for ourselves. For me, I would look at happiness as a form of peacefulness. And when I'm at peace with myself, then I'm actually truly happy. I'm content. I'm good in that moment, so to speak. As opposed to being excited means I have an expectation of what the future is going to be. And the reality of that situation is that I just have zero control of what the future is. How the fuck... Excuse, that was very pungent, wasn't it? But still, that was a pungent fuck. How the hell can I be smarter than what the universe has in store as it unfolds? I can't possibly predict the future in a way. I mean, some of us can see predictions in patterns and sometimes get lucky predicting the future, but with ourselves putting expectations on what's going to occur as reality unfolds is often taking away from the present moment, which is actually happiness. So we can be happy about something in the future, but then we're not actually happy in the moment itself. We're happy about a potential reality that might happen, if you can wrap your brain around that. Interesting. Doesn't mean you shouldn't think about the future. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be excited about the future. It's just understanding that happiness is reality, which is in this moment, minus expectations. And expectations are always about the future. So what it's really saying is that happiness is only ever existing right now, here. Whether you're listening to this on your walk, walking your dog, whether you're warming up on the bike, whether you're driving to work, right? The thing is that everything you do, you get to choose. And then that's where the power lays. When we feel like we have to do something, we're doing something for other people, and you might find that you kind of have this grudge, it's then realizing that you get to choose to do this. And people might go, no, I have to do it because I've got bills to pay. It's like, you chose a lot of those bills. It's like, no, I didn't. I was left with those bills because of an ex person or this or that. It's like, you chose to be with that. You can always pull it back to a choice, and we can choose to change that at any given time. It doesn't mean that that choice is easy, but no choice is easy. Like, this is one of the secrets of life, right? Is that everything is fucking hard. You just have to choose the hard. And more often than not, we choose long-term pain, right, and short-term pleasure. I'm going to expand on that in a moment. As opposed to choosing short-term pain and long-term pleasure. So we avoid conversations, we avoid asking for a raise, we avoid trying to get a little bit more work done on the side to build up some income on the side to leave the job that we don't like. We avoid the pain of having awkward conversations with strangers to try and learn how to talk to the other gender. We avoid all these short-term pain And then what happens in the future, we look back because we thought that we had a good life, but then we realized we avoided all the things that were worth fucking living for. And now we have long-term pain, which is in the form of regret. And so when we're able to look at a situation that is kind of challenging or a little bit uncomfortable and move through that, we get growth in that moment. And if you're able to define and sort of align both growth with happiness, then you have an opportunity in every single moment to be happy. And where this comes back down to is understanding that we have a choice. We have a choice of how we define happiness. We have a choice of how we define reality right now in this very moment. We have a choice with what we do with our life. And people often feel stuck and they feel like they're in the moment, they can't fucking do anything, and they got to pay the bill, or like I said before, or you're in a relationship and you got to do right by that person, or whatever it may be. And all it is a map that we use to understand the world. It's not reality. It's our reality that we create. It doesn't mean that it is reality. The easiest way, I explained this on a podcast, I think, with the guys from Next Level. It'll come out next week or something. But when I talk about us having a map of reality and it not being reality, right? So the term I think the coaching room uses, the map is not the territory. It's like, let's say there's a table and 4 people are sitting around the table, about 1.5 meters, 2 meters back, and they're drawing a picture of the table. Now, each person has a picture of the table, but it's not the table. It's their representation of the table. It's a representation of reality. Now, we do that with everything in life. We draw our own picture, we draw our own conclusions, our own beliefs, our own values, and we call it reality. Whereas it's not, it's our reality. And this is really powerful because then we start to look at how often we project our values, including happiness, including like you should be annoyed and angry about this, you should be outraged about that, you should, just shooting on everyone. When we're able to see our thoughts as they are, we're able to see our map as it is, and see that if we're able to remove all of these expectations of how things are meant to be and just understand that we are exactly where we need to be right now in order to learn the lessons we need to learn to become the person we deserve to become, then we can be happy with the fact that these difficulties we're currently going through are not difficulties we're going through, they're difficulties we're growing through. That's a big fucking difference. You can either choose to go through difficult times, or you can choose to grow through difficult times. And that choice is up to you, and how you define it, and how you work through it. And that's where persistence and patience, trust in yourself to deal with reality as it arises, rather than trying to build up some sort of safety framework around an expectation of the future, both worst case or best case. And that brings you back to the very moment, which, if you give yourself permission, you get to be happy in. And that's it. Isn't that fucking simple, hey? It just is. This is what's so interesting, is that when things are good or bad, it's a layer of judgment over reality. It's like, bad for who? Good for who? It just is. Just accept it and move through it and work through it, and more importantly, grow through it. Team, that's it. I'm out. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. As always, if you found this beneficial, it would mean the world to me if you would pass it on to someone else that you think would also find it beneficial. I also have a couple of seminars coming up for the back end of this year. I've got a 1-day connected coaching seminar. It's for PTs, coaches, and athletes. I've had people from real estate come along. I've had people from like the steel industry come along. I've had people that are just general sort of like they go to a gym, come along and get a lot of benefit out of it as well, but it is designed for understanding human interaction and potential. I also have a 3-day seminar coming up. Both are in Canberra. They're on my website under davenixon.com.au/seminars. So if you're interested, check that out. If you've got questions, just contact me. I'm extremely contactable, if that's a word. Otherwise, team, that's it. I'm out. Thank you very much for tuning in. Until tomorrow, peace and pizza, kick today in the dick, slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.